My dad is the original owner of this 1965 Pontiac GTO. Today he asked me to come over and take a look at some scratches he has in the paint.
Now you can see it here. See it here?
Yeah.
Here.
I don't know if the camera picks it up.
Yeah. See, if the sun was
A little
out,
bit.
you'd see it much better than close.
Little hairline scratches down here. I think it may be from having the cover on the car. He keeps a cover on it while it's in the garage, I think. Like a dust cover. Dust over here too.
I think you're right. I think it's the damn cover. See how it's all here?
Yep. Strange.
Well, I think the proof also is that I've always had it. You can't see it now because the sun is not out, but along here.
See a little bit along the hood
Yeah.
edge. Alright,
Alright, so do what
See
you
what happens.
we'll use that.
so we're gonna try this stuff just a little bit. One spot, see how it looks. It's not perfect, but it's better. I feel like I can still see the scratches, but they're more faint. I did bring the buffing machine. I was just hesitant to start digging in with that. So we were both kind of hesitant about using the machine, but I am going to try this, which is a little bit more aggressive than that. Didn't make too much difference. It's just weird because you can't really feel these scratches, but yet this is just not aggressive enough to get them out. Very strange. And if it is from the cover, why is it here but not here? That part doesn't make sense. Well, there's something here. There are some other scratches here. I wonder if it's just the paint itself. See, this looks like cracking here, but this looks more like scratches. That wasn't cracking. Yeah, it's not really coming out by hand,
Now.
even with this. And it's weird too, because like usually with single stage paint, you get a little color on there.
Yeah.
You sure this is not urethane clear coat?
Oh, no. He never did that. He used lacquer paint when he did it. The sides were painted. They were probably painted in the 80s.
Yeah.
The early 80s, probably both sides. I had one side done and then the other. So none of the paint on the side is original.
Well, it's up to you. I could try a little spot gently with the machine
All right.
if you want. See what happens.
Yeah, just be careful. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. going to have to do is just use the regular mother's wax to do both sides to make it, at least make it a little shiny.
Yeah, you probably
I mean,
probably
look at the
could use
way
it.
how shiny this looks.
Yeah.
You know, if a body shop person who is very good with the machine,
Yeah, they could probably do this a lot better.
They could probably make this paint look like $1 million.
Yeah.
Even though it's lack of paint.
All right. Well, we didn't make it worse,
Right,
so that's a
it.
plus, right?
It definitely looks 100. It definitely looks 95% better.
All right.
Is there anything on that door?
You want? Yeah, there's a little bit here. You could
All
try.
right. Well, if it worked over here,
You give it a try.
Do it if you don't mind.
I don't mind. Well, after all that polishing, unfortunately, the scratches are still there. If anyone's ever experienced anything like this, please let me know in the comments. All right, so this is my dad, 65 GTO. He's the original owner. How did you decide to go for a GTO back when you bought it?
Well, my first car was a Buick. Not coming down on the Buick. I really liked the car because it was a 61 bubble top, which now all the bubble top 61 GM cars are really, they're up there in value. At that time, Pontiac really seemed to be the dominant vehicle in high performance. And at that point, the GTO had not come out, but when they did do the commercial for it, and the 64 came out, I said to myself, this is a car really that you probably would want to buy, because nobody ever took the intermediate body and put the engine that came in the Bonneville or Catalina or whatever. At that time, they were dominating the NASCAR tracks, and they were the car to really compete against. And since it really is the first muscle car, I mean, every other manufacturer between the big three followed suit.
Yeah.
Buick, Oldsmobile, they followed it the following year, and they did pretty much the same thing. You know, the corporate limitation was 330 or 330 cubic inches, I think, at the time, but DeLorean, of course, got away with that by making it an option.
So you just preferred it over the Chevy
Yeah,
SS?
I did, because at that, even at that point, it wasn't until 65 that Chevy, Oldsmobile, and Buick brought their version out of
That's
the same
true. In
car.
64, in the Chevy, I guess the biggest engine you get was a 327,
that
right?
was it. And I'm not saying anything bad about 327
It's just not.
Chevy engines.
It's not.
They
It's just
put
not
out
close
a lot
to
of
the.
horsepower for
Yeah.
the size of the engine, the small block.
Right. It just wasn't close to what a 389 would give you.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So that was the reason why, and at that particular point, I went on active duty in the Army National Guard, and the car was ordered by my brother just before I came home. I told him exactly what I wanted, and it was.
So you were away
this
when
year.
he went and ordered the
Yeah, I was
car.
on active duty, so
Right.
at that time, you know, he did order it. But
So you special ordered it and you had to wait.
the problem was, and I didn't learn this till many, many years later, was that there was a GM part strike, which nobody really knew about till later on. And the car was ordered around Thanksgiving in November of 64, and I didn't take possession until March 17th. So it took like almost 3 months. And again, going through the part strike, the United Auto Workers, the parts division, they all went on strike, so parts weren't available at the factory to build these cars, so they couldn't do it. But
Okay.
that came out many, many years later.
So what did you order?
Well, basically, no power steering, single speed wipers. The only options I really had was the tri-power, the 4-speed. I did get the metallic brake linings because at the time, I don't know if the salesman talked my brother into it, but the car would have had manual brakes, and we know nowadays what manual brakes are without power. So anyway, they said that...
Talked you into the power brakes.
Well, because they said that you really would have to step down hard if you ordered the metallic brakes and it wasn't power. Which I found out that's probably true because I had a 65 Impala and it had no power brakes. It was terrible the way it
But
started.
manual drum brakes, they're know.
If they're
not the-
working fine,
Yeah, they're okay.
the only
They
difference is they kind of fade, where disc doesn't fade.
But disc wasn't even an option
No,
this year.
Corvette was the only one.
Right.
They were the only one that, they had that.
And you ordered the Posi Traction.
Posi Traction
Axle.
390, which now is a 355. We went through that story,
Right.
I think, on an earlier video.
Yeah, so
And,
when you got the close ratio
close
force feed,
ratio, right,
they
because when you-
made you get the 390.
When you ordered the 390, you had to take the close ratio.
Okay.
It wasn't wide ratio. And,
And
they,
you originally had the small dogfish hubcaps.
right. These the Rally ones, I put them on in the 80s. I would
And the
say
wheels, were they painted body color?
They were.
They were blue.
The strange thing was, when I first got the car, I just didn't like it looked. Now it's the
You
rage.
took them right off.
And I would almost want to go back to the poverty caps, because Ames does make them.
What happened to them? You gave them away?
I don't know.
I feel like I remember seeing them hanging in the garage when I was a kid.
They
maybe.
probably were, but wherever they went now.
Yeah.
But I understand the reproduction ones in the Ames catalog. People say that they're really good.
Yeah.
They do.
I think they're about 200 something a piece though, right?
They're like, if you buy 4 of them, it's $300.
Oh, for the whole set?
That's right.
Oh, I thought they were more than that.
Yeah.
That's
So,
okay.
anyway, yeah, they
And-
were painted body color.
Okay.
So again, somebody bought the wheels from me many, many years ago. But I would be willing to go back to that, because I
And-
like the way they look.
You also got the rally gauge.
Yeah,
That was
all you
optional,
need is
right?
the rally gauge cluster. Otherwise, all you'd have is a gas gauge. Everything was just really idiot lights.
In the push button radio.
The push button AM radio, which by the way still works.
Amazing.
The interior is all original. The headliner is original.
Original. All the upholstery is original. right?
Yes, it is.
And the carpet.
That I did change.
Okay.
I did change the carpet probably in the late 80s.
Headliner still looks great. No hacked up wiring or anything under the dash, right?
No. And
Never
by the
anything,
way, the brake lights, I fixed them.
Okay.
I
They're
turned
good
the,
now.
I turned the switch in further, and now they don't come on.
And the door panels are original.
All the door panels are original. You can see how this is all faded.
Armrest,
Yeah.
everything.
Yes. You can see how the carpet's faded here,
Yeah.
and then it gets like black.
Yeah, it's not too bad though.
Of course, the red lines are not original.
And this paint is original in the door jambs.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you can see there's no overspray. Usually, whenever cars get painted,
It's a climate.
they paint in here.
Yeah, right,
It's a
they do.
dead giveaway.
Right.
Original door seals, or did you change those?
I did those. I don't think. No, I think I might have done these years ago.
They look like they fit
I
pretty
did.
good.
I did do those.
You did do these?
Yes,
They
were
cracked,
long-
right?
And the trunk.
They look like they fit good. You think the
That was
windows
the-
seal up good, like
Yeah,
air?
they do. Yeah.
And like you said, you had the sides painted from the stripe down
Right.
in the 80s.
And the hood was painted too.
So you've had it in the garage pretty much mostly since it was new,
well,
right?
in the beginning, maybe there were some days didn't go in the garage overnight, because when I lived with my mother and father, they had cars. My brother had a car, and of course I had this. And
Whoever got home
whoever
first
got in there
got the
first
garage
was the
spot.
one that had the garage. It wasn't until I guess we bought the first house that this car went in the garage.
So when you were renting, when you first got married, it was parked on the street or the driveway?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, didn't you rent a garage from your landlord,
Yes, I
too?
did rent the garage from the landlady, yes.
Yeah.
When we first got married in that apartment for 5
You got lucky
years.
with that. That's not.
Yeah.
That's not.
They didn't
too
have
common.
a car, so at first she said, "Oh, I just put it in there," and I said, "No, let me give you something, $10 a month or whatever it was."
Good deal. You open the hood. Engine is never out,
No.
never apart.
Heads have never been off.
You still have the original points distributor, right?
Yes.
It's the original distributor. And the carbs are original.
Yes, they are.
Radiator, everything.
Yes.
Wow. You never had to have it record or anything?
I did have it cleaned out, I think 2 times.
What's the original
Life of the
core?
car, right. I took it to Shanker. Remember them? Jericho?
Yeah.
High tank too.
And the clutch fan
That's been changed.
came that way though with a clutch?
Yes.
Was it like heavy duty cooling or something? Was that an option or that came with the GTO?
No, well, the large radiator did. The
Yeah.
4-core came with the tri-power.
Okay.
It was
Normally,
an air-conditioned radiator,
Yeah.
but they didn't give you a shroud. That only came with the air
okay,
conditioning.
so if you got AC,
cars.
then you got a shroud.
Right, but it is the air-conditioned radiator with the tri-power and the 390.
And it cools pretty good? You
Yes,
don't have any
it's
problems?
never really overheated, so...
You ever change the heater core?
No, it's got the original heater core, and that's hard to believe.
That is hard to
Never
believe.
changed it. It's never leaked.
Well, I guess you've always maintained the cooling, right?
Yes.
You changed out
Although
the...
I'll admit, it's been
It's
quite
due.
a few years that I haven't changed the antifreeze. And it is due for that oil change. I'm gonna change the oil.
Did you rebuild the front suspension ever?
It's just springs.
But it's the original
ball
bushings?
joints. I think I did ball joints. And I did, yes, I
Did
did.
change the bushings?
I did the bushings and the A-arms. Yes, I did. I did it myself.
When was that done?
Probably sometime in the 80s, I'm guessing.
Will you open the trunk? I like the Delaware old school plate.
Yes.
Is that an original one?
It's a reproduction.
That's a reproduction.
I have a lot of stuff in there. So.
And the trunk inside is all original.
Yes, it is with the speckled paint. Oh, you don't want to mention the sway bar?
Oh yeah, okay.
One thing I decided to do, I always thought that these cars would handle better with a sway bar.
Yeah.
And
So you added the
yeah,
sway bar.
that I did. That's probably the most recent thing that I did add with the box control arms,
Yeah.
and it definitely handles much better.
Yeah, I noticed that too with my Buick. It
Right.
really stiffens up the whole car.
Suspension,
Not
right.
just in the turns, just the way it drives. It stiffens the whole car up.
I found that out too.
Original floors and rockers and all of
Yes.
it, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess what happens when you garage a car.
Right. It makes a difference.
And you did use it in New York winters, right?
Yep, I did. Oh yeah, there were many times that this car was covered with salt.
You just washed it off
Right.
every
Tried
time.
to wash it right away.
Pretty amazing. Nova too. There's no day-night mirror.
Right. Yep, that was never changed.
That was an option, I guess.
Yeah, yes, it was. It was an individual option.
Yeah.
And you could pick and choose as a la carte, not the way you buy cars today.
Right.
You have to take a different package. Oh no, we don't do
So
that.
were these available on dealer lots or not really?
If they were probably short-lived. They didn't stay there very long.
Yeah. And then you didn't get what you wanted. You might have to get a 4-barrel
Right,
with an automatic
right.
or something.
When I was waiting that long, and in 3.5 months, I had my doubts that the car was ever going to come in. We went around looking, and all there was automatic 4-barrels, anything that you could find at a Pontiac dealer.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get something like this.
So I guess back as early as the 80s, it was starting to be more like a show car than a daily driver
Right,
type
it was
car.
the very early 80s when I joined the POCI, Pontiac Open Club.
Started doing the car shows.
Started to go to car shows.
Now you're pretty much retired from the car shows, right?
Well, after the China virus came, that's when I stopped going.
Yeah.
I didn't like going to car shows wearing a mask.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Okay, thanks for watching, and watch Nowhere Fast Garage next time.
Thanks, Dad.
Okay.
See you.